Then you have to convince that boss to give you the first job. You have to influence him that you are the kind of person that would work for him. You have to influence your spouse to marry you. You have to influence their father. You have to influence a bank loan officer. Your whole life, everything you do, I believe, is based on your ability to influence other people. When you speak and you lead, do they follow? Your ability to build your business is going to be based at the very core level on your ability to influence other people. When you say, hey, can you come on over? I want to tell you about something. And they say no, it means you don't have enough influence with them. If you had enough influence with them, then they'd come. So I want to talk to you today about 12 different ways that you can develop the kind of person that you are that will make you the kind of person that other people want to follow. Now we're going to look at this sort of backwards. A lot of times people will talk about leadership this way. Well, if you want to be a leader, this is what you do. I want to talk to you the reverse way. I want to look at leadership from the follower's perspective. Because think about this for a moment. You do not decide to be a leader. If I were to say to you, okay, come on, we're going to all leave, we're going to go out these doors, I'm leading, let's go, and I walk out those doors, who decides whether or not you will follow me? You do. I don't. See, the leader does not decide to be the leader. The leader can only decide to become the type of person that other people want to follow. It's the difference between what one book is called soft power versus hard power. There's a great book, if you're into politics, you should read it. It's called Soft Power, and it's about the ability to influence other people, nations, etc., not from dominance or force, although at times hard power is necessary. If you're the boss, yes, you have a title, and you can lead, and you can say, do this job or else you'll be fired. If you're the parents, you can say, do this job because I'm the dad and I say so. That's hard power. It comes from force, coercion, or raw power. Soft power is what we're talking about from the follower's perspective. It's where you become such a person that they are magnetically drawn to follow you. They look at your life and go, wow, she's got a great life. Why wouldn't I follow her into this business? Or into this lifestyle that she has? When they look at you, they say, that guy's got the kind of life that I want to have. It's magnetic. It's based on who you are. I like to say it this way, that your ability to lead and influence is based on two things, your character and your skills. Your character and your skills. Thomas Jefferson, in a letter to John Adams, said it this way, there's a natural aristocracy among men, the grounds of which is virtue and talent. The people who rise to the highest level, the men and women who rise to the highest level, the sort of figurative aristocracy, the people who make the most money, the people who have the best families, the people who drive the business, who run the social outfits, the churches, the synagogues, that type of thing. The people who make a difference are people who learn virtue and talent, character and skills. See, people want to know that you are the kind of person they want to follow. But they also want to know that you are the type of person who has the skills that will be able to get them to where they're promising you to go. Now let's think about that for a minute. If you have great character and low skills, are you a leader? No. Nice guy. I'll invite you over to watch the Super Bowl with me. I'll let you eat chips with me. I might even let you watch my kids while I go out on the town with my wife. Because you've got great character. But no skills, you're not going to lead. I'm not going to put you the head of my company. Now, what happens if you have high skills and low character? What are you then? A politician. Now, there's a lesson to be learned from that. It's sort of insidious in a way because lots of people lead with high skills and low character. But let me tell you this, they don't lead for long. Because ultimately, people look at them and say, well, you know, they got great skills, but we can't trust the guy. And ultimately, the follower-leader relationship is one of trust. When you're talking to somebody about the business that you're involved in, they want to be able to trust you. They want to know that it's true. They want to know that you're doing what you say you're doing. That type of thing. It's all built on trust. Think about, I'm an equal opportunity political basher. Let's take two, one from the Democrats and one from the Republicans. Bill Clinton, Richard Nixon, both very highly skilled politicians. But character was their undoing. Neither one of them were able to accomplish the things that they wanted to accomplish. Why? Because they caused so many questions in the hearts and the minds of the believers that they became unbelievers. They didn't believe in the person's ability to lead anymore, and it stagnated anything that they wanted to accomplish. But when you have high character and you have high skills, you've hit that sweet spot of life where you become the type of person that other people say, that person is the kind of person I want to follow. And that person has the kind of skills that when they say they're going to get me there, they're going to get me there. Hi, this is Chris Widener taking a break from the live presentation that I gave to give you a little bit of an idea of what took place during this time without having to actually have you listen to it. What I did was I took an audience of 1,800 people. We broke down into groups of 2 or 3. They then came up with a list of characteristics that they look for in great leaders and influencers. We put them all up on a board. There was about 40 or 50 different unique answers. Then we went through and I asked the question, is this mainly a character trait or a skill? And what I found after doing this hundreds of times with audiences ranging from 20 people to nearly 2,000 people is that the vast majority of the things that the audience comes up with, even though there are both character traits and skills, the vast majority are character traits that we're looking for in our leaders and our influencers. Now, I'd like to jump back into the live presentation where you're going to hear me speak for the rest of the time together on the secrets of influence, incorporating some of those character traits and some of those skills. Let's get back to the live presentation. This is the most important thing that I think I could tell you today. If you want to influence other people, the best thing you can do is improve yourself. You know, Jim Rohn, one of the guys that's taught me a lot about speaking and personal development, he says if you really want to improve your life, you need to work harder on yourself than you do on your job. If you want to become a great leader and a great influencer, the best thing you can do is look at the issues of character. Now, you need to improve your skills. You have to have skills. Remember, we said you have to have both, but foundationally, you have to have character. I want to take you through some of these different character traits and skills that I think are important. And we're going to spend the next 41 minutes talking about those. And I've got 12 of them. And as I go through these, I'd like you to think about this. I'd like you to ask yourself this question. Which of these, as I go through them, see some of these I'm going to talk about, and you're going to go, yeah, I got that. And others you're going to go, uh-oh. Yeah, he's talking about me. When you get one of those that you go, yeah, I really need to improve, write down on your notes something that you can do to implement that in your life. And at the end, I'm going to give you a time where you're going to write down 3 actions you're going to take. 3 actions you're going to take to turn this from just something cerebral and exciting into something that's going to change your life. I always said I'd never want to be the charge of a think tank. I want to be in charge of a do tank. I want people to get out there and do something so that their life changes. Because as long as it's in your mind and it's not out in your actions, it's never going to be helpful to you. Number 1 is integrity. Now, here's the best way to understand the concept as far as I'm concerned. Those of you who can remember high school math will remember that there's a word that you learned in high school math that's similar to the word integrity. It shares a root. Anybody remember what that word is? An integer. Everybody always gets that. That's kind of the easy one. But then I ask the question, what is an integer? And everybody looks at me like I got a third eyeball in the middle of my head. It's a whole number. An integer is a whole number. Now you might be saying, okay, Chris, where are you going with this? To have integrity is to live your life in such a way that it is whole. Now you still might be saying, Chris, where are you going with this? Let's think of the reverse of whole. If something's not whole, it's divided, right? To have integrity means you do not live your life in such a way that it is divided. It means you don't tell the truth half the time, and then you don't tell the truth half the time. It means you don't treat some people this way and then you turn around and treat other people this way. It means that you are living your life out of the core convictions that cause you to live your life in such a way that it's whole. When somebody sees you, they don't have to wonder if there's another part to it, because what they see is the whole. After my mom sold real estate, she went to work for the University of Washington Mechanical Engineering Department. And they used to talk a lot about integrity. Any of you have a background in structural design or building, that type of thing? People have to think about the integrity of a building. Why? Because if the building doesn't have integrity, what does it do? It falls. I remember that they used to study dams a lot. Out in Washington, we're always trying to harness the rivers and that type of thing for electricity. And they used to talk about small little cracks in dams that could bring an entire dam down if it was left. Do you know that the small little cracks in your life can bring down your business, your family? Everything that you've worked so hard for, if you don't deal with just that little tiny crack. You might say, it's just a little tiny crack. It's just a little white lie. It can bring down everything that you've worked for. Other people will begin to look at you and they'll say, can I really trust this person? Is this person somebody that I can follow? See, you're driving down the road and you got a client on the phone and you're going, yeah, sure, we shipped that out. You're looking at the person that works for you. Yeah, we got it out. Now, you're not lying to that person. But 3 months later, they come to you and they say, hey, when am I going to get paid? And you go, I guarantee you next week. And they're going to say, you know what? I don't trust you. You've never lied to me before, but I know that you lie. If you want to be able to influence people and cause them to have trust and faith and hope in you as a leader, as a business leader, as you build your business, they have to get to the point where they trust you implicitly. I looked up the word integrity. It says a firm adherence to a code of especially moral or artistic values, incorruptibility, an unimpaired condition, soundness, the quality of state or the quality or state of being complete or undivided, completeness. When people look at you, this is number one, bottom line, foundational integrity. Number two is attitude, especially optimism. Attitude, but especially optimism. I told you about my friend Dino Rossi. He's running for governor of Washington State. We've been friends since long before he was in politics. He used to be a commercial real estate developer. And about a month before he decided to run for governor, he called me up and said, hey, come eat. And we went out for lunch. And he said, you're a speaker and I'm just a commercial real estate developer. You need to be my speech coach. I said, hey, great, no problem. So I spent about a day a week with him traveling around the great state of Washington. But I go out and I try to help him learn how to speak. And here's what I say. I said, Dino, I only got one requirement. And that's that everything we say is optimistic. Because there's too much bashing going around. And the fact is that they've gone back and they studied every presidential election for like the last 20 elections. And they came out and they found this, that every election is always won by the most optimistic person. They went back, they studied the words, they codified the words, what were optimistic words, what weren't. They found that the election is won by the most optimistic person every single time. Now, it doesn't mean that you aren't realistic. It just means that where you see the country, the state, your business, wherever it is, you say, yeah, this is reality. But I'll tell you what, it's going to get better. Who wants to follow you if you say, hey, come on over, I got a business to tell you about. And they come over and they go, do you think I can really succeed? And you say, probably not. Come to think of it, that was a big waste of cheesecake and coffee. Why don't you just go on home? Would you want to follow a leader who says, hey, come follow me, it's going to get worse? No. Leaders are dealers of hope. Leaders are dealers of hope. They're optimistic. Here's a great way to remember the word optimistic and how it means. Again, I like words. Boil it down to opt. Opt is the root word, and when you think about opt, you opt into something. You choose into something, right? But opt also is used in words like ophthalmology, optometrist, optical. It's what you see. It has to do with seeing. Your attitude of optimism is your choice to see the world in a positive way. See, the world's going to happen regardless. You can't change the way the world is going to happen around you. You can't change the economy. Only Alan Greenspan can do that. You can't change the weather, although you'd like to. There's only one thing you have complete and total control over, and that's how you choose to see what's happening around you. You can get up and say, yeah, this is the way it is, but it's going to get better. This is the way it is, it's going to take hard work, but I'm going to be successful. For 21 years, I looked at that house and I said, I'm going to buy that house someday. Right at the same time that I had just been getting off of pot and drugs and all that kind of stuff. It took 21 years for the owners to finally decide to sell it. That was always my big problem. And I couldn't even scale the fence and go in and hand them my business card and say, hey, when you decide to sell this, we had to pay real estate commission fees. But are you going to choose to